why this is going to be fun with this tutorial, the fact that this hair is a bit longer and so is this hair unit. So what I'm going to do is actually create a look where I blend in this, right? I blend in this hair with the rest of this hair, creating kind of a longer, I was almost going to do like a Kylo Ren haircut tutorial on this, so it's going to be inspired by that. This type of unit right into here, right? Because it's so very thick right here, it may not be the best for showing an exposed hairline, just simply because it's really, really thick, right? And it may look a little obvious. You know, if you don't mind having that really thick hairline, then totally go for it. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a look that kind of has more of a sweeping type texture like this, so it works into the haircut. So I'm going to apply this, I'm going to cut it. This is going to be a really, really in-depth, pretty cool video, and I hope you guys really enjoy this. All right, so as I'm combing this down, you guys can see what I meant about the hairline, of how the hairline, you know, it's a bit almost too perfect. You know, if that's cool with you, then that's awesome. But, you know, what I would suggest is wearing a look, which we're going to be cutting today, that is more of a kind of a sweeping look like this, or you can go over this way, you know, but I think something along these lines is going to be a lot more fitting and natural. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm using my spray bottle, and I'm literally just combing through the hair, getting all of the hair nice and saturated. And don't worry, this is on the scalp. This ain't going anywhere. You know, it's not getting pulled off. So, you know, we're good to go there. So in order to create really the ideal haircut for this, you want to look at the entire length, right? You want to say, where do I want all of this to end up? As you can see here, this is way longer. You know, there's a huge gap right into here. Then we've got this. So in order to strengthen this whole lineup, we have to actually create a look and cut off all this excess hair and work it down into a shape this way. So let's start in the back, and I'm going to cut it about right there, and I'm literally just cutting this straight across. All right, so there we have that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the side area right in through here. Again, what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're creating a solid flow between the top and the bottom. And I'm looking for the thin areas, and I'm saying to myself, where can I cut this to actually strengthen it? So let's go right there, one snip, and we're good to go. Automatically, as you can see through here, you've now connected the shape, and it looks much thicker. But we have to continue on working towards the front. So I'm going to comb this all straight down, and here is where the magic happens as far as creating the look in the front. You want to make sure that the end result is going to reflect the kind of look that you want. What you don't want to do is cut the front too short or not cut it short enough, right? So my goal is to create kind of a moving, sweeping type of look, right, that I can brush over to the side this way and have a little bit of texture with it. And I have that vision in my head. Same thing on this side here. We're going to comb this all straight down. So now we're going to connect this side. Same exact thing. I'm combing the hair towards me, creating my angle, and now I'm cutting upwards like so. The face frame into here is probably the most important part as well, because this is the first thing everybody sees, is the front of your head, right? So this really, really is crucial that you have a really good, solid foundation in the front, because, you know, yeah, people see the back of your head, but at the same time, you know, this is the first thing people see. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the layering, right? So the layering, what I'm going to do is just like I do in all my haircuts, I'm going to treat this as if it's completely, this is human hair. So I'm treating this as if it's human hair, and now I'm going to establish my length, right? Where am I going to layer this? So I do want to have a good amount of layers in this. I don't want to have it too short, but I don't want to have it too long either. So that's where we're cutting our first layer right into here. Now that is going to be our guide for the entire back of the head. So now what I'm doing is I'm combing the hair straight out, and I'm going to be cutting it straight out from the head, going all the way down into the length. What's great about this, because it's human hair, it literally feels as good as it possibly can. You know, it feels incredible. It's got great condition to it. And yeah, I'm just going through it. It feels incredible. All right, so now we're going to continue on this side, right into here. And, you know, the back, not to say that the back isn't important. Yes, obviously it's important. The whole haircut's important, you know, but what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a connection from here to the very, very bottom. A lot of times, even, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, you know, you go get your haircut and there's literally no connection between the top or the back and the bottom, and it's just all over the place. So when you go to get your haircut, right, or if you're cutting this, you got to make sure you're cutting this just like a normal head of hair. Don't get intimidated. Don't be kind of discouraged or freaked out that, oh, it's, you know, this isn't hair that's coming from the scalp. But if you treat it that way, it's going to really, really help big time. So what's happening now is I'm working in through the corners in through here, and that's where I'm removing all that excess weight. And that's what's going to help the hair lay much better and not be so heavy, right? And that's what layers does, is it helps remove weight and give you that textured look. The key also to the haircuts, right, is you need to make sure you cut everything. Because if you have a unit that you say you're cutting on somebody else and you're a hairstylist or a barber and you don't go all the way down to the bottom, this is just going to look like a big chunk of hair that's just sitting there. Everything needs to be connected and blended, right? Connected and blended. Those are the key things. And the way you do it is simply follow the guide. Create a guide, follow that guide, have that vision in your head of what you want the haircut to look like in the end, and then you just stick with that. I also was excited to do this because a lot of times when you see these looks, a lot of barbers or people doing this, they go super short, you know, where it's like a bald fade, and then they create some sort of pompadour or some textured crop top on top, which is awesome. But I was like, wait a minute, I have an opportunity to showcase and do a makeover on a mannequin here that has, you know, longer hair. So why not do a tutorial with the hair being a bit longer, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now reverse, and I'm going to, you know, cross-check my work and also go back to make sure that every piece is cut. Now, going in this way, right here, I'm seeing a lot of hair that still needs to be cut and layered. And that's going to happen, especially when you're combining, you know, two different pieces of hair, you know? It's the same thing, but when you're taking something artificial that's not growing from the scalp and putting it on and trying to work it in, you got to make sure that every little piece is accounted for, right? And that's why going into the section and into each part of the haircut from different angles, and I do this with all my haircuts, I go in from different angles because the hair is going to jump out at you in a different way each time, and it might show you that either a piece needs to be cut, or, you know, it may be too short or it's too long, whatever it is. It's going to fully show you what mistakes are there. It's a great, great, great way to cross-check and to make sure that everything is fully balanced. So right now it's looking great. I'm feeling good. I'm going to go back in here and, again, make sure that this is all blended and connected in. It may be still a bit heavy in some areas, but that's where we go back in with the thinning shear, and that's where we can change it up a little bit and make it a bit more textured, right? Now, this is all hair from the mannequin. You know, so this hair in particular was a bit on the drier side, and kind of coarse and it wasn't super silky like this. So that's also what makes it interesting too. So I'm trying to match up the texture right into here. All right, so now that the back is done, let's lower this down so you guys can see. And it's time to connect this into this. So we got our first layer before when we cut this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb this straight up. And there's my guide from before. And then there's the hair that needs to be cut. So we're going from here to here. You have to connect going from the back to the top back of the head. I'm not even calling this the top yet. This is the top back of the head. And this is the crucial part to connecting any sort of haircut, whether it's a men's haircut or a woman's haircut. You need to really make sure that everything is in sync right in through here. Now that we have that, we can move forward now, leave the past behind, and we're going to move forward this way. Here is where I'm going to take everything section by section and work right down the middle going towards the front. And now I can clearly feel the difference in the hair texture between the back and the bottom and this, because this is, again, 100% human hair. It's in great condition and it's really, really easy to work with. So as we get towards the front, you don't want to skip out on any sections. So as we work towards the very, very front, what you want to make sure that you do is comb every single piece up and layer every single section. It's very, very important that you layer every single section because you don't want this to be too heavy, right? You don't want this to ever be too heavy, and even though it's going to be a bit longer, you need to have some sort of flow to it. All right, so the top is done here, and now it's time to work in through the corners. So here is where a good amount of hair also is going to come off. Now, to me, this kind of reminds me of like a mod shag almost, you know. This is definitely kind of a shag haircut. So yes, if you're a woman watching this, you could totally wear this. And obviously, if you're a guy, you can wear this too. But that's what it looks like this is turning into. So we're connecting now the top in through the corners and then the sides. This is the very sides. So we got top, corners, and sides. Everything has to be accounted for when it comes to cutting this hair, right? The top, the corners, and the sides all need to be cut. And you don't want to, see what I'm doing? I'm coming all the way down here on the very, very bottom, and that's all hair and weight that needs to be cut, right? The very, very, very bottom, that's the length. But what's above that is weight that just is going to make it look so heavy. And that's how you kind of get that more layered look, and that softer look is making sure that you're getting rid of all this interior heaviness right in through here with the haircut. And as you can see, it's looking much better already. So depending on the hairline, this mannequin right here has a very, very low hairline into the front, and make sure you're getting all of that. So I'm turning the head around, and I would be doing the same thing if this was a live model. I'm turning the head or the body position. I'm not turning my body. I'm literally standing in the same position to make sure my elbow is in good shape, right? So that I don't go over the top when I'm cutting or kind of put my body in an uncomfortable situation. So now we've got that, and again, here we go into the sides. There's all that hair right in through here, all that excess weight, and this is the best part of cutting all this because you know it's all for a good cause. It's all for a good cause. Once you get the hang of this, you know, again, doing this yourself would probably be a bit difficult, you know, especially cutting the back. You know, if you do have somebody that can help you do this, then that's great. But if you are attempting this yourself, I would say good luck, just because, you know, cutting your own hair can be easy, but it's not always necessarily the easiest, to be honest with you. You know, trust me, even for myself, I've learned how to cut my own hair, and it's not the easiest, especially in the back, right? Especially in the back. All right, so once again, going all the way down to the very, very, very bottom here, making sure that we're getting rid of any sort of excess pieces that are a bit heavy or a bit longer. I'm combing it in different directions, you know, and if you see something, gosh, I feel like I haven't shut up. I've been talking nonstop. But I want to make sure you guys get a lot of value and education from this. right? So what's happening is, let's see, which way do we want to go over? I want to go over this way, all right? Now, we're getting a lot of volume, a lot of texture, a lot of movement. It's kind of got that sweeping, you know, it's the kind of mod sweeping type of look, you know. Does everybody want to wear their hair like this? Not necessarily, but just say, for example, somebody does want to wear their hair like this. Then go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a cool haircut. Totally a cool haircut. All right, so now what do we do? What I like to do is just cross-check everything, especially in the front, to make sure that every hair is cut, every hair is blended in, the haircut's looking good, it's flowing good. This you can do yourself. This you can do yourself, where you can kind of comb your hair upwards, and you can see if anything is needed as far as, you know, in order to cut the hair, to remove excess weight or to balance it out. This is a bit easier to do yourself. You know, it just requires combing and holding the hair up to make sure. So let's comb it straight down again, make sure the front is good. And this is where we're going to go and kind of clean up any pieces that we feel. And if you need to cut the front shorter, then go for it. Like what I'm doing right now. I'm cutting the front a little bit shorter to once again strengthen up that line, because I do want to be a certain length, but I don't want it to be too long, right? I want to have a good flow on this. So don't be afraid to go back and kind of cut areas that you think need to be cut. So let's take a thinning shear right in through here. Again, this is looking very, very, very moddy, like kind of 70s and 60s or 70s, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to be a little bit aggressive here with the thinning out, just because I feel like it's going to help the look. And I'm doing this all by hand and by feel, right? All by hand and by feel. Don't try this at home unless, you know, you don't mind attempting to lose a finger. But, you know, even in the bottom hairline, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of texturizing this to make it a bit more natural looking. Because before, this hair was really, really, really thick. Really, really thick. And you want to create a softer illusion, right, like we're doing there. The last thing you want people to do is look at this and say, oh my gosh, you know, he's wearing some sort of hair unit, or it looks so unnatural. Finding a good hairstylist who understands this is the key, to be honest with you. It's the key to it all, you know? All right, so there we go there. Again, all by feel and by eye, making sure that this is all connected in and worked in nicely. All right, there we go. So I can see a much better, bigger difference than before. If anything is too blunt, just go in there and slice it up a little bit so it looks a bit softer. Okay, now let's blow dry it. All right, I think this came out pretty awesome. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and do just some more refining in areas that I think needs it. And this is the extra. This is putting the icing on the cake. This is just adding those finishing touches and personalizing it. You know, this is why if you go to somebody who really knows what they're doing, they're probably going to be charging at least $150, maybe $200 alone just for the haircut, right? Just for the haircut. Okay, so now is the time where if you need to thin out any of it, do it when it's fully dry. A pair of thinning shears, go through the hair, feel the weight, and just kind of chunk it out a little bit. Right? I do have a link in the description of the tools that I use that you can find on Amazon. All right, so that's definitely something that is worth checking out. But let's just see here what we got. Right, so you can see now if we were to wear this all back, it's not that it's bad, it's just that the hairline, it looks a bit thicker right there, almost not 100% natural. A haircut like this is definitely, you're able to hide it more. But you really, really need a good haircut, to be honest with you. You need somebody who really knows what they're doing, who can, you know, really, really take this step by step and have the patience to do it and to work with you on it. But I think this came out incredible, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, so if anyone wants to know and see, here is what the back looks like, right? So again, yes, it's a bit thicker down and through here, but that's why I went in and I created some texture with the thinning shears. If you feel, right, if you feel like it's still a bit too solid with the line, that's where point cutting comes in. All right, I'm just gonna make sure not to cut my finger. All right, watch this, point cutting. See what point cutting is doing? It's allowing me to go in and soften up that line to make it a bit more natural. So point cutting and working the layers in, making sure it's all blended in is definitely of importance. So I just want to show you guys again, let's look at the scalp up close. As you can see, the scalp, and again, what makes this really unique is look at the, there we go. That looks like any human scalp right through here, which is pretty awesome. I have to admit, it looks pretty awesome. That's the one thing I wanted to really highlight is the scalp. I mean, that you cannot tell. And look at all the movement in it. Let's shake it around a little. This ain't coming off. But even when you sweep the hair, right? Look at how this blends in. Now, I know if a female is watching this, they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, yes, this could be a shag, right? This kind of looks like Kris Jenner, but also for a guy, you know, this looks like almost like an anime character, like someone from Devil May Cry, you know, Dante or something like that, or you know, more of a mod type, you know, emo type look or skater look. You know, either way, it's a really, really cool haircut for men and women. In all honesty, I felt like I just delivered a baby. Okay, that was, I mean, I talked nonstop for the last hour or whatever, how long this video is. But I hope you all enjoyed this. If you are interested in purchasing anything from LaVividHair.com, use code TheSalonGuy, all one word, and you'll get 15% off of your order. That's pretty incredible. And they have such a huge variety of hair units and different types and all poly base. I mean, different colors. They're really incredible. That's why I'm excited to work with them on this. So 2 videos a month are going to be dedicated to recreating looks and things. I'm doing on mannequins now just because I can't really do any interaction. We're all kind of in quarantine. We're not supposed to be on top of each other and seeing clients, so I'm obeying that. But let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're someone who wears a hair system, if you're a stylist looking to do this, you know, just let me know how you thought about the video and if this helped you.